Good morning. We'll call the Wednesday, March 9th, 2022 meeting of the Criminal Justice Meeting to order. Start with roll call.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Long? Mr. Lear?
Present.
Mr. Snipes?
Here.
Ms. Peters? Ms. Parker?
Here.
Mr. Fairfield?
Present.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Swanson?
Present.
Mr. Kirkstra?
Present.
Mr. Hunter?
Present.
Mr. Collins? Mr. Smith?
Present.
Mr. Gowler? Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Seroy? We have a quorum.
Okay, I have not received anything for public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Any public comment? Everyone should have received a copy of the minutes. Take a motion to approve the February 9th meeting. Mr. Swanson, second by Ms. Parker. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Up next is Chief Judge Cunnington. Good morning.
Good morning, John. Okay, I think I got good news today. Happy to report the courthouse is fully open, masks are optional, and jury trials are in full swing. So that's good news, and our jurors are reporting for duty. The other good news is we've been informed by the Administrative Office of Illinois Courts that our grant request for technology improvement for the courthouse has been approved in the amount of $534,612.17. That is going to upgrade all 9 courtrooms for the modern technology with the Zoom platform and computers and TV monitors and sound system. Additionally, the what we call the VA system to the sheriff's office is going to be updated as well, and so we will be able to have a new, we call it our VA system, where we can put defendants on the TV screen at the jail and they can communicate to the courtroom with their attorney. Ever since I started 10 and a half years ago, the VA system to the sheriff's office has been nothing but problems. And I always said, we can put people on the moon and talk to them, but we can't talk a couple of miles south of town. It's just been a real problem. So we're really looking forward to having that updated. The jury software is also going to be updated and brought into modern technology, where jurors can get on their iPhone or their smartphone and connect to the jury system and ask for it, to be excused if they have an illness. They can check in, they can find out information regarding their service. So that's all coming about quickly here. We've been approved and we need to go ahead and spend the money. We're also getting a telephone system upgrade, but we're using the old phones from the health department. Apparently they have 34 used phones, but they are much more modern than what we have at the courthouse. We have the old Centrex system, which is at least 20, 30 years old, and those are analog, these are digital phones, so that should help improve communications as well. That's all I have to report today. Any questions?
Any questions for the Chief Judge?
Yes, Hunter.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Hunter.
Chief Judge Cunnington, how much would it cost to improve the phone system via digital?
That's what we are doing. These are digital phones that we're getting from the health department, and that figure for a router to install is $8,500. They have to put in some new lines and some new cards, but that's the cost, is $85,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. How are you feeling there, Mr. Hunter?
Well, I'm going to have surgery in the end of the month, so maybe I'll be good to go after that.
Oh, okay. I thought you were having it this week. Okay, good luck.
Yeah, 28th.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks.
Up next, Ms. Cianci. Circuit Clerk, you have a copy of her monthly report in the packet. Take a motion to approve by Mr. Eckhoff, second by Mr. Kirkstra. Morning, Sandy.
Good morning.
Comments on your report?
Nothing new or exciting. I don't know if anyone has any questions with the county distribution report. Collections is quite a bit different from the last couple years.
Yeah.
At this time, next month we hope to see a spike with the debt recovery program through the tax anticipation. They call them warrants, and people freak out in my office because they think they're getting a warrant, but what they mean is the money. It's an accounting term that people aren't familiar with. So I'm looking forward to it picking up for the next month.
Any questions or comments on Sandy's report? We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
So for
Document shredding.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. For the document shredding, it's part of the basement project, and I talked with the chairman, Wheeler, and I think we'll just keep putting that along with the other project that I'm doing to get the files taken care of so that we can clear out the basement. And this is supposed to be $8,000 is the proposal. So if there's any, am I right, Andy? Is that?
We had done a not to exceed in the shredding as part of the document conversion. So this is kind of like when it's done, you got to shred it. So if it gets, we have to adjust the not to exceed number, then we'll come back and adjust that.
Well, the shredding for those files is included in that price. This
Right.
is different documents,
Yeah.
but still, it's still the basement project.
Okay.
Okay. So then the other thing that I wanted to talk about was we took a tour. Anita and my chief deputy Debbie and my traffic supervisor Lori went to 2 counties last Friday. We went to LaSalle County and we went to Kendall County to tour their case management system and their courthouse and see how things go with modern technology. So it went very well. It was very enlightening and gave us a lot of hope. And next Friday we're going to Peoria and Tazewell County to tour their system, and hopefully that'll give us some ideas on what we're looking for in the new case management system to move forward.
Great. Questions or comments? Oh, Mr. Snipes, sorry. Try to ignore
Seeing all
you.
is red, yeah. Just wanted to share with you a comment, I guess, from a colleague of yours. I was in Springfield, and she's running for the 2nd District Appellate Court, Mrs. Cartwright. She's the
yes.
circuit clerk. Yeah, and she spoke well of you, whoever, and
thank you.
kind of informed me of, like, I think the circuit clerk's dealing with this kind of congestion of paperwork. There's 2 systems out there that they're kind of following or whatever, and I think I don't know if hers is similar to yours or
No, she's
doing.
The vendor that she's chosen is called Journal Technologies, and they're going. They and McLean County have made a contract with that company. So there's about 5 or 6 companies out there that the state uses. 70% of the state uses Judici, but their system is not integrated fully like what we're looking for with, all the other criminal justice stakeholders. So Journal Technologies would do that. So I don't know if there's more people that are going to be jumping on to that one or not. But once we put out our RFP, I'm sure they'll, apply. So,
Yeah, she just made mention that. She said, but that's the way to go, she says.
yeah.
Yeah, so, and she said to tell you hello.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're good friends.
Anything else for Ms. Jansen? Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you.
Up next, Mr. Rowe from the state's attorney. Are you on, Jim? Mr. Kogovich is going to come up. In the package, you have a copy of the grand jury report and the grand jury statistics report. Take a motion to combine and approve them. Mr. Lear and Mr. Carrico. Good morning again, John.
Good morning, sir.
Comments on the reports?
Our last grand jury was on Thursday, so these figures need to be updated. But as of the end of last month, we had charged over 109 individuals with felony crimes. We've had some health issues in the office, and due to that, we weren't able to get those last Thursday numbers to you, and they'll be updated for next month's report. Anybody have any questions?
Mr. Snipes?
No, I'm just,
Okay, all right. No questions on the reports? Have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That's it? Thank you. Up next, Mr. Penelwick, Public Defender's Office, have a monthly report in your packet. Take a motion to approve that. Mr.
Hunter
Bergstrup
motions.
and Mr. Hunter. Morning, Ed.
Good morning, Roger.
Comments on your report, sir?
No comments. I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
This one cut off.
Oh,
Well, your pending ones.
okay.
I noticed when I was looking at it online, it looks like there's a decrease in all of them.
There's a decrease. I mean, I'd like to say it's because of the new, I would say that things magically have changed in the last 2 months, and obviously, criminal laws is a art, not a science. So the numbers are going down. I think that's a compilation of all the factors. The courthouse being fully restored. I've got a part-timer down in traffic helping out the full-timer. I think that's helping, even though the numbers in traffic aren't necessarily going down yet. They are going down. I just think things are finally getting back to normal, and we're just kind of plugging along and moving the cases. So, it's always a goal for me to move cases, but, as an attorney and as a defense attorney, it may not, the client comes first, so if it does not benefit the client, I'm not going to bums rush a case just to make it happen, obviously, but we definitely talk about it in the office all the time about, the backlog. At the end of the day, it doesn't help anybody. So to answer your question that you didn't ask, yeah, things are going down slightly, correct.
Good. Any questions on the report from Mr. Penelwick? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. What else?
That's all I have.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you. Up next, we have the Under Sheriff, Mr. Chad Gessner. Congratulations on your promotion, sir.
Thank you, sir.
In your package, you have a copy of the Sheriff's monthly report. Take a motion to approve by Mr. Eckhoff, second by Mr. Lear.
Morning, everybody.
Comments on the report, sir?
I have nothing to report. Any questions? I'd be happy to entertain any questions on the report. Anything? I know that with corrections, looks like our local inmates from last year are down a little bit.
Pull your mic over.
Okay, sorry. Out of county is up a little bit, so just kind of pretty steady on both categories. Revenue down a little bit, but that's about it. Any questions on the correction side?
I always bring this up. It actually, we sent 20 and they only released 23 from prison this time. Is that a good thing, or?
Yes. Well, the sheriff's always working with the DOC on that, so that's always a battle for us, as you know. I think he talks about that quite a bit in this meeting, but he's always working on that, and him and Chad are always on the phone. In the words that he uses, nagging DOC to try to get that taken care of. So, but it's a constant battle for us.
Any questions on the monthly report? Mr. Snipes?
report, no, go ahead. Not on the monthly
Okay.
report.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Go ahead, Mr. Stein.
Thank you. Some time ago, we had an incubator program that kind of dealt with recidivists to kind of acclimate them back to what we call the real world in order to be moved from their prior behavior to kind of into the upstanding or at least into the norm. And that program, it was there, but and the state threw it out there but did not properly fund it. With these individuals coming back in, especially those that's been out a decade or two, where society has changed, is there anything as far as if they went in, they could get a GED, or we encourage them to get a GED or a process that helps them get a GED and move on, maybe to some certificate or associate degree to kind of help. I think Jones or someone was a part of that. Has that died out, or is it being considered?
No, it's still there. You know, the GED program is still within the jail. We have a lot of programs that are offered throughout the jail to try to improve on the recidivism rate.
Right.
And there's a lot of those, and they're still there. Obviously, when the state pulls funding on some of these, it affects us, but we're definitely offering many programs within the jail to work on those numbers.
Okay.
If memory serves me right, I think in Reverend Wilson, wasn't he instrumental
Reverend
in
Wilson,
helping?
yep, he was always, I worked many years with him. When I was in the jail in '96, Reverend Wilson would come in all the time and work on that, and a great man that helped put a lot of those programs together, working with the sheriffs over time. But I will say that's one thing that I know the sheriff brags about and we're proud of, is the programs we offer inside our jail. And we get a lot of times when we go to, people come back with our programs and thank us for giving them that opportunity to get in that program to help them out when they came out back on the street. So, we're pretty proud of what we got inside that facility.
Mr. Lear.
Mr. Chairman, one of the programs that the sheriff has is through the reentry program that Jasper Jones has. In addition to that, Jasper is also the executive director for Kankakee County Renewed Opportunity, which helps with the transition from being incarcerated to getting back out into the community. So the sheriff's done a great job with that and is very supportive of all that.
Our Thinking for a Change program.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, like I said, we're pretty proud of what we have in there to help these individuals out that need it, through our drug programs, our GED programs. I mean, but obviously, if you hear of any ideas or programs out there, we're always willing to meet with you and whoever to see if we can implement them in our system. So,
Chairman Hess?
Yes, Mr. Hunter.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations, Chad, on your promotion.
Thank you,
You've been
Steve.
waiting in the wings for a while, and I'm sure you'll do a commendable, excellent job. You have the right DNA. Got a couple of questions. I'm not
DNA's
sure.
in the room.
Of course. And the other half is at home, probably watching.
The boss.
Yes, the boss lady. Got a couple of questions, and I'm not sure if you can answer them. One that speaks to the resource officers that you guys have made a proposal to allocate out in Pembroke, and I know the board there, school board there, voted that down. And I've talked to Sheriff Downey about this on occasions because we think it would be invaluable, not only for the school system out there, but also helping with the prevalent crime that happens over there at the Citgo station. I mean, we hear that stuff all the time. Will you guys be making that proposal again or revisiting that, or you have to interface with the sheriff about that?
We would love to make that proposal again. I think we think it's important to have our officers in the school, especially in today's world where there's so much negativity placed on law enforcement. I think it's our opportunity to talk to the kids while they're young and show them who we really are. And I think that's an important thing. So we would love to entertain that again.
That's good. Something else too, and I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I know I think I've mentioned this at the NAACP and law enforcement meetings. Every other month, the NAACP meets with law enforcement, police chiefs, Kankakee, Bradley, Bourbonnais, St. Anne, Momence, et cetera, state police, and at various occasions, Iroquois County Sheriff comes as well too. Other individuals from other parts of the state come and take a look at the relationship that the NAACP and law enforcement have. You know, we interface, we talk about hiring, we talk about body cams, we talk about any number of issues that are germane to the community and law enforcement. Updates of the police chief and those individuals who represent the various departments. Good stuff in this live stream. My question, and this is probably more germane to some outlying police departments like St. Anne, Momence. I know that Manteno has integrated their police force. Bradley has, I think, one or two people of color on that force. I'm not sure what Bourbonnais has done. But what I'm saying is that you guys have a hell of a complement of individuals in corrections, you know, and I was wondering, had you guys given any thought to that being a feeder system to those departments where they do not have the demographic reflection of the community? In other words, Village ABC, you know, has got a department of 10, 15, and they have no people of color on the force. Had you thought about working with your guys, your people, because, you know, we don't have a problem with what you've done in terms of corrections. I mean, that's laudable that the number of people of color that you have there clearly reflects the demographics of the county. About working on a program to feed some of those correctional officers with the background in law enforcement to those departments who are in dire need of diversity in their department. That's something for you guys to think about, but is that out of bounds in terms of something for consideration?
No, absolutely not out of bounds. I think some of our best police officers in this area have come out of corrections. It's the experience they get while working in that capacity. We encourage our correctional officers to become police officers. In small towns, you're right, they're struggling right now with finding police officers in the smaller towns, and we're in constant communication with them, the chiefs, to try to help them out because they pay by the hour. They're not paid a lot of money. And in today's world, obviously, as you know, it's hard to be a police officer. And for $14, $15 an hour in a small town, it's pretty tough. So they're not getting a lot of people that are applying for it, and they're struggling. So we offer up our corrections officers, obviously, for recruitment. But we're also selfish because we like to hire them from within too, because, you know, they're a great group of people. So obviously we take advantage of them. We're kind of selfish and try to grab them first. But yeah, obviously we offer up our jail staff and encourage them, if they want to work in the small towns, to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I would just like to work with you guys. NAACP would like to work with you on that. And we have a really good rapport, you know, with the Sheriff's Department. And we'd just like to see that done in order to enhance the demographics of those other departments which don't have the full complement of representatives in their workforce.
Yep, that'd be a great discussion for the next meeting.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, guys.
Any other questions? Animal control, do you have anything for that?
I do.
Okay.
I talked to Carrie. We have 3 dogs that are available for adoption. So got that smile on your face there, Chairman. Oh, Joe, you had 3 dogs. But we have 3 dogs. I know we were giving away guinea pigs last time, so it's dogs this week. But we have 3 dogs available for adoption. Please, if you got your personal Facebook pages, please share the stuff from Animal Control. Help us out. Carrie's group works hard over there, and those 3 dogs need a home. So let's try to help her out with that. That part-time kennel tech position for weekends and holidays is still available. So again, if you know anybody, please have them contact Animal Control. No cats. Yeah, Tinker. Tinker, you do have the mafia over there at the. I've seen the mafia over there. They rule the roost over there.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else for Mr. Gessner? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Oops.
Grab a roll on your way back, seeing you brought
Yeah,
them.
I brought you a banana just in case Mrs. Hess is watching. I wanted to offer you the banana. Don't eat the donuts.
Kelly let me know that I missed Mr. Latham on the agenda for probation. In the package, you have a copy of Tom's monthly report. Take a motion to approve. Mr. Fairfield, second by Mr. Kirkstra. Sorry, Tom.
That's all right. Same thing happens at home. So.
Yeah, when you get old, you forget things.
Just a few comments on the report, and I'm working off my phone here. Just the totals. As you can see, we had a little over 3,000 successful contacts last month. We have 26 individuals, juveniles and adults, on some form of electronic monitoring, and we were able to collect over 300 drug tests last month. So everything's getting back up to that pre-pandemic, numbers. So that's all I have totals, unless there's any questions.
Any questions on the report for Mr. Latham?
And we have 5 in custody at River Valley too. So.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
The only thing is this month we're going to have a meeting with a representative from the Department of Juvenile Justice, DOC, for juveniles. Judge Drew, Judge Parkhurst, and Iroquois County will be a part of that meeting. And they're going to be making some changes there, and we're concerned about them. As you know, when you sentence a juvenile, the Department of Juvenile Justice, they determine the length of stay. We hear that's going to be shortened up. We also hear, this bothers me a little bit more, if someone's sentenced to the Department of Juvenile Justice, they're going to create this remote intake unit that goes out to the detention centers and meets with the juvenile, like say, for example, at River Valley, and could put them on supervised release directly from the detention center. So they'd go back into the community and supervised there. So obviously we have some concerns because that puts a lot of pressure back on local communities. These individuals turn around and come back right here without much of a break in there. And I'm not saying every juvenile needs to go to prison, if you want to say it that way, and be there forever. And I understand it's a big deal taking a juvenile out of his home and away from his family. And I don't want to get too much ahead of this because we're going to have the meeting, but there's several other things that are being brought up that I think is going to, if they went through, could put a lot of pressure back on us and the community. And as we all know, the field units for parole do a great job, but they're just spread thin. They have bigger regions and more people to monitor, different than probation departments here or something in most situations. So I'm hoping we don't have a date for that meeting. It's going to be at our office, but it should be within the next few weeks. So by our next meeting in March or April meeting. So I'm hoping to have a little bit more, and we'll just get you updated on it. So,
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess, could you pass along a concern to them for me? Mm-hmm. And I don't know if Mr. Rowe wants to chime in, but he has better facts than I do. A lot of the shooters are the juveniles. Mm-hmm. And sending them back to the home life that created the shooter, or lack of any supervision or anybody at home, mm-hmm. seems counterproductive to changing that pattern of behavior. So supervisors released into a situation that is unsupervised, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So just pass that along, because not only the human cost, but there's a financial cost to that as well. Obviously the human cost is a lot more to bear. Okay.
Will do.
I appreciate it.
And you know, our department does a great job. I've told you before, our employees do a great job, especially with the vacancies we have and everything. But I think they're not going to be monitored as intense or as closely as they are if they're on probation. So it's in a weird way a break if you got sentenced and then released back to the community. At least and there's the other part of it too with local law enforcement. You know, they can contact us, anybody in our office immediately. You know, we have those relationships. They know how to get a hold of us. And if there's issues. That changes when you start dealing with parole and people you don't know and individuals. So there's a lot of downsides to it. But again, I'm probably getting ahead of it. We could have the meeting. Maybe they'll answer the questions a little differently. But I just wanted to give you a heads up on where that's going. And there's some other things in there with, you know, regional, placing these minors in regional settings that are not secured buildings and different things like that we're all going to get, you know, try to figure out what's going on and what their timeline is too. But I'll bring it back to the committee in April.
Any other comments?
Chairman Hess,
Yes, Mr.
I got a
Hunter.
question. Tom, thank you very much. I remember several months ago, and I'm trying to remember the overall situation, but I remember there were 2 or 3, I don't know if they were twins or something, and Rose stopped me from mentioning their names, because they were Hellcats on wheels. They did something over at the gas station over on West Court Street, and I think they stole some vehicles over in our neighboring communities, Bradley or Bourbonnais or something like that. And that kind of speaks to what Chairman Wheeler was talking about sending those people back into maladaptive home settings. Man, you know, I just can't see them curtailing or cutting the stay in these facilities when they're going to do the same thing when they go back to that maladaptive home environment, oftentimes single head of households and you know, babies having babies, and they're not really equipped to run a family or teach their kids, you know, the ABCs of being good citizens. But yeah, Tom, hopefully you'll share those sentiments that we have and we harbor regarding letting some of these kids out, you know, back into the setting where there's no supervision, there's no mores, there's no values, there's no sense of community and doing the right things in the community.
Yeah, and on our end, we're trying to put together some specific information, examples, some stats, different things like that for the meeting. So we just don't talk in some general term that this is, you know, we want to have, you know, fill in the blanks for them during that meeting. If it changes anything, I don't know. But, you know, I think I'm hoping it'll be interesting what they say. And as far as the remote or the remote intake units and individuals being released that are sentenced to DJJ but never go there and are released, it just seems like, you know, it's a problem. So I mean, anyway, we're gonna hopefully have some answers, and I'll definitely let them know everyone's concerns here at the meeting. So
Thank you. Anything else? Mr. Snipes?
Hearing Steve and also our probation, it's alarming at best when we see the youth just shooting up in the neighborhoods. And I think it's a culmination of what's in their ear and what they see around them on the TVs and the whole 9 yards. But as much as we will try to do everything possible to make our community safe, it will never happen until the community itself comes together. That means from the knowledge to the dollars, the preachers, the teachers, the civil rights leaders, the church. I mean, everybody has to come together, government, in order to defeat this malady and bring at least some sense of accomplishment to what we consider to be public safety. They look to the officers, they look to you and some others, but it's not a segment problem or a segregated problem. It's a collective collaboration, and I think that message has to go forth. How bad do you want the safety in your community?
And I think one of our examples we're going to put together is to show them how much is done before a recommendation to DJJ happens and before a judge makes that sentence. There's a lot of programs, a lot of things that we do over a long period of time. Very rarely does a juvenile commit a crime and go directly to DJJ. You know, it's just like different than the adult system. So there's a lot being done before that you get to that point.
And to their credit, of the juvenile, most of the hardcore criminals use them because of the lighter sentence, or they know that you're going to release them. So they have this pressure from individuals on the crime. Some of them don't even want to be a part, but they're forced to be a part. So there's a lot of collective elements that's in there that has to be addressed, and that's why I say it's a community problem where the community has to sit down and say, we'll bear the responsibilities as well, because it's not a one, you can point at the family all you want. They'll say, we can't really do a lot because they'll call DCFS on us, or they'll leave. So, I mean, some kind of way we need to look at this whole picture to see if we can kind of bring that together.
No doubt a small number, you know, or cause the majority of the problems, as we all know.
3% I call it, yeah.
Yeah, but when certain individuals are in custody, you see the ripple effect of things quieting, you know, they quiet down a little bit because, like you just said, people are influenced or made to do things by other people. So we're going to have all this discussed at the meeting and see what.
Sounds good.
And I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I seen the chief judge shaking his head back there too. Okay, thanks, Tom.
All right. Anything else?
We may be losing our coroner here. Looks like they got a call. In your package, you have a copy of the coroner's monthly report and the monthly receipts of money. Take a motion to combine and approve that. Mr. Carrico and Mr. Eckhoff. Good morning, Bob.
Morning. Sorry, we had a rough night last night. We got a couple autopsies here starting here at 8:30, so. In my summary here, which I'm using this particular page right here, which is February is a very busy month, and then basically all the calls, I can answer any questions on that aspect. There's still 12 pending right now of those calls. Any questions on that at all?
See, the autopsies almost doubled this month.
Yeah, I think we were like 25% ahead of last year already. So.
Any questions on his reports? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign, motion carries.
Two parts on the ODs that I usually talk to on. We're at 7 cases right now with 3 pending, which we're right on track with last year's. Also, too, that the drugs are changing a little bit now to methamphetamines. We're seeing a lot more meth, which is a cheaper drug, but there's that's been mixture with the last one we had was cocaine, fentanyl, and methamphetamine. So, as I say, it's being mixed out there for sure. But fentanyl is still leading on that aspect, but meth is starting to come on strong. So.
Questions? Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman House, thank you very much. Coroner Dessner got a question. We talked about this a while back, and I know as of late that you have taken more initiative in terms of dealing with this fentanyl stuff and the recent overdoses with fentanyl and stuff, and us making the Chicago news and you know, you guys being in the forefront in the newspaper in terms of all this crazy stuff with that fentanyl stuff. But you know, you remember, and I think you made a commitment you would consider this. I know it on occasions you and Jim Rowe, K-Meg, and other prominent individuals from law enforcement, you know, have gone and done community initiatives. You did something with the NAACP. That was one of my projects. But I was wondering, would you, not that things are toning down, but, you know, it seems like they increase in terms of this dope stuff, in terms of deaths, overdoses and stuff. Would you be able to reach out or have Cavender or somebody to reach out to the Comcast Community Channel 4 and maybe do a panel discussion on TV? And that stuff could be, you know, run and people who are served by Comcast could see that and know, other than, you know, what they read in the newspaper or on the radio, the real stuff that you provide in terms of data and empirical evidence. I mean, because I remember when you guys did the presentation with the NAACP, my head was spinning in terms of the data and the information that you provided regarding fentanyl and the related drugs. I mean, you guys provided information saying it only takes a little tiny bit, you know, it'll kill you. And, you know, the conventional thoughts were you got to take a bunch of this dope and then you overdose and die. But there's Narcan now and so forth. You're working with Dwayne Dean, and you guys in collaboration are going to be dispensing those things to the community and so forth. But would you, my point, bottom line is, would you still consider going on the community channel, Channel 4, Comcast, and doing a panel discussion? That may be something for the future, but that may reach a lot of folks.
I have no problem with that at all. I think you know me that I'll do whatever I can on that aspect. And I don't know who to reach out to over there, but if you got information, I can communicate with you later.
Yeah, you go through Kankakee City. I'm sure Jasmine would be able to tell you. Humble would be able to talk to over to Kankakee City, or reach out directly to Chris Curtis Mayer.
You talked about Dwayne Dean a little bit out of there. I was called by Mr. Rowe to a gentleman, a 20-year-old that was reaching out for help, couldn't find help. He's been on the streets involved in meth, Xanax, and all those different types of drugs there. I brought him to my office and we talked for about 3 days. I talked with him out of there. He's in his 20th day over and getting treated right now at no expense. He's been up to Chicago. He's had a complete physical. And this is something that we reached out to bring this guy that was near death back to normal again, hopefully.
Yeah, Rowe was telling me, Jim Rowe, State Attorney, was telling me about, you know, on his own dime, took a young man up to Roseland for some treatment program up there. I mean, he does that.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, religiously. I mean, he does that over and above the job description that, you know, he's held accountable for. So, you know, hats off to Jim Rowe on that.
I agree.
And you, as far as that goes.
Mr. Wheeler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bob, I don't know if this will do any good on this, but I'm trying to think of an angle to get the governor to realize on the distribution of the opioid settlement that a more equitable distribution would be fair. And what it appears that has happened is, because Will County got a little over 6 times what we did, is they're going on per capita. They're not going on deaths per capita or impact of opiates in a community per capita. We are obviously 100,000 people, so we're down below, you know, middle of the pack, but as far as deaths per capita, we're towards the top. And that's self-serving.
We're fourth in Illinois on deaths.
That is where I think they should deploy the resources, to where they target the problem that is the hottest, if you will. So I don't know if the Coroners Association could get on that in conjunction with the sheriffs, to try to get him to at least maybe build something else into the formula instead of just Cook County gets all the money and then everybody else has to fight for what falls off the table.
I agree.
That'd be
on that.
great.
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree.
And by the way, we were first to sign on to that lawsuit. Our
Right.
county was.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
A little tired.
Okay.
I have something else
Yep.
on the list on the.
Declare 2005 equipment as surplus.
We are happy that yesterday was our day that they just installed our new freezer yesterday. It'll be in service today, which will hold 6 to 8 bodies, basically. So we're very proud of that. It worked in real well. So we have a 2-drawer freezer and a weight scale, basically, and 2 trays that we want to have surplus so we can. There's a couple of different counties that are interested in that.
Take a motion. Mr. Fairfield, second by Mr. Swanson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Oh. Go ahead.
I realize
Mr.
I'm going to have to
I'm
do
sorry.
the speed limit over the speed limit to get to the hot top. We need it back.
Go ahead, finish the vote. Do we check with any of the corners or funeral homes that's here to see if they could use any of this prior to going to the other counties?
Can they use?
Yeah, like the freezers or whatever for bodies and all that. Do we check with like any other funeral homes and see if they have a need before we?
Absolutely. We have 3 people in mind right now. They've come to us. 2 of them are funeral homes, 1's a coroner. So.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for that.
Anything else for Mr. Gessner? Senior Mr. Gessner. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Drive slow out there.
I will, I promise you.
Okay. Is there any old business coming before the committee? Any old business? Any new business? Mr. Kirkstra?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to have the pleasure to ask that we move to adjourn.
Second, Mr. Snipes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion